Hey guys, it's your girl Bree Angelique, and I am back with another video for you guys. So I am going to be starting a beginner series for all my wonderful subscribers, and for everyone who has not subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button. Get into it. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to just talk through how to beat your face for beginners. It's going to be very simple. I'm going to talk you through applying the foundation, doing contour, doing highlight, simple eyeshadow, and some mascara. That being said, if you have not checked out what I should have in my beginner's makeup kit video, definitely go check that out, and I will link that video down below or in the box somewhere. I don't really know yet. If you're feeling this backdrop, leave a comment below. Let me know how y'all feel. I think that's everything I want to say, and so let's just get into the look. So skincare is essential when it comes to doing makeup because it's what allows us to have that really good base for our makeup. And if you don't have a good base, you can ruin your chances of having a look in the end that you'll be proud of. Just always make sure to start off with a clean face. I just got out the shower, but I didn't put on any moisturizer or anything before I started recording the other video. All I had on was chapstick, so I need to go ahead and care about my skin real quick. First step we're going to do is put on some moisturizer. This is the Cetaphil body and face moisturizing lotion. Feeling all juicy. All right, next step I'm gonna take is my Mario Badescu spray. It's the rose water skincare spray. I love it, and I just really like to have moist skin when I put on my makeup. I find that it just makes me happy. When you're doing your brows, you don't even really need something that's super expensive. I used to use the Anastasia brow pomade, but I don't use that anymore because I just feel like it does like too much of a harsh look. I'm not trying to look OD harsh all the time. So when you do your brows, the first step you want to take is putting a primer on your brow. It really does help to make sure that you have like a good base on your eyebrows, just like with your face or with your eyelids, like with your eyeshadow. You just want to make sure that area is prepped for what you're about to do. Everywhere that's going to be touched by concealer and or brow products. On your brows, it's important that you take the brow pencil very lightly but still visibly at the bottom of your brow, and just kind of follow your natural line all the way out. And a cheat for that is to take your brow pencil, line it up with your nostril, and wherever the tip of your brow of the pencil stops, that's where your brow should end. Then I just go back in and I lightly fill in some of the gaps, not even all the gaps, and then draw the tail of your brow. Boom. Then you just want to do the same thing on the other side. Honestly, brows is the hardest part, and like even if you have been doing makeup for a while, your brows never really look the same twice, and it's honestly the most frustrating thing in the world. So just have patience, guys. Like, everything does not happen overnight. So once that's done, go ahead and grab a concealer brush. Mine is out of the Morphe Vegan pack. Unfortunately, there's no name on the brush, but this is what the brush looks like. It's just a flat brush. And then take whichever concealer you want to use. So I am going to use my low-end concealer just because, like my drugstore concealer, because it's something that everyone should be able to afford. It's the Maybelline concealer. So place a few dots of that under your eyebrow. Take your brush and you want to work the product up to the line of your brow and just follow the outline. Use small strokes. And just work the product along the line of your brow. If you cut a little bit of the tail off, it really is okay, because honestly, your tail shouldn't be dumb long. Alrighty. Now, once you've worked that down, take either your beauty blender or another brush. This is the Real Techniques Deluxe Crease Brush. I use this brush because it's kind of like dense, the way that the bristles are packed, and it's small and it's circular. So you can definitely get up in there and blend out this highlight that you put on, or the concealer that you put on. So you just want to make sure that up under the brow there's no harsh concealer lines, and that you're just blending down into your eyelid, into your mobile eyelid. When you're doing your brows, you want to make sure that you're dragging the product onto like the bridge of your nose. So that's the first part of our brows. We got the underbrow done. So now when you move into the top brow, I use a different concealer brush because I use a darker concealer for this step, just because it's more natural looking and it'll make my blending process when it comes to my highlight and all that stuff and my foundation a lot more simple. So I'm going to be taking the LA Girl Pro Concealer in the color Toast to highlight my above the brow. So with this concealer, it has a brush wand. So you can actually do a little bit more of the work with the product itself. The tricky part about this is not bringing it too far down into the brow. So what I do is I take, what is this? This is another flat brush. And I take it and I follow the lines. If this were to be flat, I will hold my brush like this so that I can use the bottom edge to drag that product along. Take the brush, twist it so that the side of the brush is what's on the product, and just drag it along. You always want to make sure you're using small strokes because small strokes are easy to control. And you'll be able to see what you're doing a lot better. Okay, and when it comes to blending out the upper brow area, I use my beauty blender, and it's actually not wet, and I'm gonna have to wet it. And then if you see any harsh concealer lines under the brow, get up in there too. That is a-okay. It's always better to be over blended than to be under blended. And then we're just gonna repeat that step. This is where the shape of your brow is really locked in. Once you put that concealer on and it sets, it's a done deal. And then once you have that, you just want to take the concealer and move it upwards, because if you move it away from your brow, it gives you more room when you are blending it out so that you don't end up cutting off your brow. This is a part that I did not learn when I was a beginner, but if you choose to do this part, follow along with me. This is how I do my brows. So I take this brush comb thing. I don't know what it's really for, what it's really called or anything, but I use it for this step because it's perfect. So I take the brush part, you can even see like where I use it, and I take it and I just brush out the middle of my brow. So like this beginning part, I'll take it and just go like this, and it blends it out better. It kind of gives it like a blown out look. And I do it to both sides. So now I have like this unibrow. If you have a unibrow after this step, you did it right. So you take your brush that you use to blend out your lid area and just flick it in between until you get it to look the way you want it to look. And now we have our brows. Next up is going to be a simple eyeshadow look. So I use my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in the color Tan Sand to prep my eyelids. You can prep your eyelids with eyeshadow primer or a different concealer if you choose. This is just the concealer that I prefer to work with because I accidentally got the wrong color at Ulta and I can't really use it as an under eye highlight. So I just like to use it as my eyelid prep because it gives me a more neutral base to start building my colors on. A lot of the times, unfortunately, for African Americans or people with darker skin, it can be hard to get colors to show true without using like a white base or a lighter concealer base. And that's fine. Like, I mean, it is what it is. Like, it sucks, but like, you just have to make it work, I guess. So after that step, I'm gonna take my NYX HD Studio Finishing Powder in the color Translucent and one of my smaller Morphe face brushes from the vegan set. It's like it's definitely a powder brush. It's very loose, very soft. So what you want to do, be very careful with this product because this product blows all, like, look, like it blows all over the place. So I take a very little dab, even that's too much, and I hit it off. Like, I'm telling you, like, you really have to get in there because there will be a lot on the brush, and I'll just go in and set that concealer or whatever base I put for my eyeshadow with this powder. All right, so I'm going to be taking the Morphe 3502 palette today to create my simple, very simple look. I'll probably only use about 3 colors to get this look done. So the first brush that I'm going to take is going to be my Morphe E27 brush, and it's a perfect blending brush. It has that soft dome tip to it, and it really does help diffuse the colors and just really get like that blended, blown out type of look. So the first color I'm going to take is going to be Universal. It's right up. This is going to be kind of tricky. I'm going to take Universal right up here at the top. Okay, so what you're going to do is start blending from out here inwards, and this is going to be our transition color. So circular motions, and you just want to drag, you want to blend and drag. And so basically we just want to cover that entire transition area that we have. When you're putting on the brush, like, don't be afraid to get up in there, like really get that pigment in there. I am now going to take my Morphe M441 brush, which is a blending brush. It's also dome style. It's kind of similar to this one, but it's, I guess, a little less dense and a little more tapered. So I'm going to take the color Flux, which is right under Universal, this one right here, and that's going to be my crease color. So when I say crease color, that means that I'm going to be placing it right here, right in my crease. So I'm going to start by swirling and blending. So swirl and drag. I'm stopping it halfway. That's where I decided to stop. Halfway. And then when you build up the color, you just do the same thing. Swirl and drag. And I'm gonna keep building that color so that we're now at the 3rd swirl and drag for the color Flux, which is our 2nd color in our look. And honestly, guys, like, doing eyeshadow is something that is a constant. You're supposed to be constantly growing, constantly working on your craft. Like, it is not easy by any means. Anyone who tells you that like it's an easy skill to master is lying. They're lying to you. I'm still, in my head at least, pretty bad at, but like, you guys tell me that I'm not, so I'll believe you. But you just have to have confidence in your skills as a beginner. Like, have confidence. You know you don't know it. You know you don't know what you're doing. So just have fun trying to figure it out. Like, makeup is not supposed to be something that is full of pressure. It's enjoyable, and it's supposed to be something that like you can look forward to doing every day. Not something. All right, so the next color, I don't know what tangent that was that I just went on, but I think I want to do this color called Heat right here, which is like this reddish color. So what I'm going to do is take an eyelid brush, which is going to look a lot like our brushes that we use to do concealer with, but it's not. So this is another Morphe brush out of that vegan set, and it's flat. So we're going to take this and we're going to take the color Heat and pack it on the front and the back of the brush. Like, get it really coated and burst it onto the lid. So this color is actually not as pigmented as I thought it would be, but I just got this palette, so I didn't know. And that's fine, because as beginners, we're just going to build it up the old-fashioned method. We're just going to pack it on. So I'm packing it on directly to my lid, and then you're just going to repeat the same thing on this side. This is why it's important to put your eye makeup on before you do your face makeup, at least in my opinion, because it lets you be a little more comfortable with the fallout on the shadows. A lot of people feel like fallout in eyeshadows is indicative of a lesser brand or a brand that needed to have more work on their formulas or on their pressing. And while I agree with that, I also don't think that there's anything wrong with a little bit of fallout. I really don't think that there's anything wrong with it. So next I'm going to be taking my final color to just put it in my crease, because it just looks a little incomplete to me. So I'm going to be taking my M441 brush again, and I'm going to be using the color In the Zone, which is right here. And I'm going to use this to deepen up my crease a little bit. So we're gonna that swirl and drag. Then take the brush that we had before to put our very first color on and just blow out that color that we just put on. Blend it up. All right, repeating that step, we're gonna take the M441, we're gonna put it in the color In the Zone, swirl, and drag into our crease. It's important to not be scared of color as a beginner. As a beginner, I was terrified of color. I felt like if you could see it, it was wrong. Obviously I know that that's dumb now, but like that's really how I felt about it in the beginning, and like I was just really like self-conscious about it, like, oh my god, there's too much color on my face, like I look like a clown. So like, don't be scared to experiment with color, guys. Color is a lot of fun, and I wish that I had like experimented a little sooner, but it's okay because I'm still young, so like I have years of wild makeup left in me. But like, yeah, don't be scared to venture out. So I am actually going to wet my brush because I'm not a beginner and I don't like the way the lack of pigment is happening in my life. So I'm gonna I wet the brush and I'm going back into the color Heat, packing it on my brush, and I'm gonna pack it on my lid again. See if this helps make a difference. Kinda. And anytime you add a new color, you have to repeat your blending process, because that's how you keep from looking crazy. Another important step in doing eye makeup, like eyeshadow and whatnot, is always remembering to drag down the colors that you put on top to the bottom, just to complete the look. Like the color that I'm going to put in the bottom is going to be In the Zone. And I'm taking that on this flat brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it under my eye. So like I'm going to put it under my lash line. And then after I take that brush, I'm going to go in with my Morphe 506, which is a small tapered blending brush. And make sure baby father not texting me. Then I'm going to take the color Flux, which was the second color that we put in our upper eye. So just blend that out. Just kind of blow that out at the bottom. And then I'm going to go in with Heat, which was our eyelid color. And I'm just going to add a very, very little bit of that to the bottom. All right, so then our eye look is complete. So now we can move into our face. I'm going to use the NYX Photo Finish Primer. Keep it on the cheaper side. So I use like a shit ton of this, and I just pack it on my, wow, I had eyeshadow on my fingers. So make sure you don't have eyeshadow all over your fingers before you put on your primer. And just work it into your face. And if you are a person who has hyperpigmentation on your neck or on your chest, it's also okay to put primer in those places. Anywhere that you're going to be putting makeup, you can just assume that it's okay to put primer, because primer, all it is a base for your makeup. The foundation I'm using today is going to be my Infallible Pro Glow foundation in the color 212, the color Cocoa. I'm going to use this one because I feel like I've kind of done a drugstore theme up until this point, and I want to, or like at least a cheaper look up until this point. So I want to make sure I stay on that route so that this look can be affordable for everybody, because isn't that the whole point of makeup, having a makeup channel? So what I do is I put on the foundation straight out the bottle, and then I blend it in with my brush. This is the Fenty Beauty brush, the Fenty Beauty foundation brush. I love this brush, not gonna lie to you, but it is a little pricey. So there's definitely other options as far as foundation brushes go. The True Beauty brand that I got when I got my very first set of brushes, I got it from Marshall's. They had a foundation brush in there. Marshall's also sells like individual foundation brushes, so you really don't have to break the bank. I have scars on my cheeks, and I have scars, like hyperpigmentation around my mouth. My mouth is not the same color as pretty much any other part of my face, and it's not even like a hair thing. It's just like a thing. So I tend to put a little more foundation around my mouth just to make sure that in the end it matches up. And yes, I could solve that with color correcting, but a lot of the times I'm just a little too lazy. But if you want tips on how to color correct, just let me know in the comments below. So I got my wet Real Technique sponge and my wet beauty blender. So what I do is I go back in when I'm done using the brush, and I just blend with my beauty blender, just because I get a little paranoid about looking cakey, and I feel like it may not be a thing, but I feel like when I use my beauty blender afterwards, it's like a lot smoother or whatever. The concealer that I'm going to use is the Maybelline New York concealer in the color Cafe, same one I used on my eyebrows. And I just go in and highlight under, drag it on the side of my nose, bring it down on my cupid's bow. The same thing on the other side. The thing I like about this concealer versus other concealers is that it's very buildable. It's still pretty liquidy, and when you put it on your face, you can do one side of your face and then come back to it and do the other side. Like, you don't have to rush with this. It's not going to set and lock in like concrete on your face if you take your time. So what you want to do is just take the pointed end of the beauty blender and blend that out, following the shape of your face. Do a little mini circle on my chin, and then that is it for the highlight. I'm taking the LA Girl Pro Concealer in the color Mahogany for my contour. A little splash up here, a little splash over here, and some dots along my hairline. It's a flat top brush. It looks like this. And I just start by tapping in the product just to kind of work it into my skin so that it's not as liquidy when I start moving it around and blending it out. So then I just go and I stipple, brush down, brush up into my hairline, but I have my edges laid today, which I never do, so this is different. I'm trying to figure out how I'm supposed to keep my edges looking cute and also blend without getting acne. So that's another thing. When you're blending out your contour, brush forward towards your eyes, because your contour is supposed to make your cheeks look, and with and if you blend down, it'll just look like you put on another layer of foundation and it's just too dark for you this time. For my MAC, custom MAC, I use Swiss chocolate. I use Swiss chocolate. So for the rest of my nose, I'm going to take this angled Morphe brush, looks like this, and just dab into that Swiss chocolate and drag it along my nose. I like to go in with my beauty blender, blend out all that contour. Next step is highlighting, or setting our highlight. So take your beauty blender, a dab of Laura, and then dab it over all the areas that you just highlighted with the concealer. Now, my trick with this is I don't like to bake. So baking was a thing that people were doing. When I first learned how to highlight, I baked. But I quickly learned that over baking leads to flashback. And the best way to prevent over baking is to not bake at all. So what I do is I work in the powder into my skin. Like, I want it to melt into my skin. I don't care about wiping off excess because I'm not putting on that much to begin with. And so when you do it like that, at least in my opinion, it just looks a lot more natural and a lot better, just a lot better overall. After that, you want to go in with your whatever brush you're gonna use to set your contour. I always use the same funky looking brush. Here it is. It looks like this. It is the buffing brush, and I use that and I just take some of my Swiss chocolate, I coat the brush, and I just go back over everywhere that I did the cream contour. All right, and then when you're looking a little unsnatched, you can go back in with your Laura and reverse contour under your contour, if that makes sense. So like, you take the powder and just go under the line that you just created with your contour. Let that sit for a literal second. Take a powder brush of any kind. This one is going to be the one that I put my face powder on in the end with, and so it's also a Morphe brush, and then wipe it away in a downward motion. Wipe it away. And now it's just accentuating you sexy and you is popping. So when you are done with that, now it is time to blend all of your face back together. I'm going to be using the Infallible Pro Matte Powder in the shade, I believe it's Cocoa. So it doesn't say what shade this is. I can assure you it's the darkest one. So open up this bad boy, take that powder brush, just dab, nothing crazy, and then press it into your face. Because you just want to make sure that you got some brown back, or whatever your natural color is. It's going to help bring the whole look together, help you look like a person and not a science experiment. Alrighty. if you feel like you lost your contour, feel free to just accentuate her a little bit more. So next we're gonna take blush, and blush is not something that I use all the time. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in with my MAC blush in the color Breezy. I don't even know if they make this anymore. I've had this since I was in middle school. So I'm gonna take this angled brush by Morphe in that vegan set, tap it a couple times, and when you're putting on blush, you wanna put it where your contour is. Well, at least when I grew up, I was told blush goes on the apples of your cheeks. Smile and put the blush on the apples of your cheeks. Well, that's not exactly the case, because it looks a little crazy when you honestly think about it. Like, I don't like the way it looks. So I started putting it into my contour. And the next thing we're gonna do is highlight with our Fenty Beauty Kilowatt highlighter in the color Moscow Mule and Ginger Binge. So I'm gonna take Ginger Binge first. Oh, and my fan brush from Morphe. Taking Ginger Binge, I'm putting it all over the brush, and lightly over my blush, I'm going to place my highlight. Okay, then I take my finger and I take a little bit of Moscow Mule and I put it on the tip of my nose, the very tip of my nose. I think that's so cute. I don't know why. And then I take a little bit and put it on my Cupid's bow as well. Okay, taking this skinny flat brush, I'm gonna take some of Ginger Binge and just put it under my underbrow. Okay. And mascara can absolutely complete your look. I just think that once, as a beginner, enjoy your time. If you're a beginner that doesn't use lashes, enjoy your time without your lashes. Bitch. I just stabbed the fuck out of myself. Wow. Damn. I'm not gonna be putting on lashes today. Guess that was God. As I was saying to my beginners, if you're not already someone who has to wear lashes with every look that you do in order for it to feel complete, take your time with that. Take your time with getting there, because once you develop that need or like that want to wear lashes with every look, like, there's no going back, and no look is going to feel quite the same without them. Okay, so for a little bit more pizzazz, I want to add some color in my inner corner. Let's see. I'm gonna go in with Sauce. So Sauce is this fiery orange glitter color. And I'm gonna put that in my inner corner. So this is the Real Techniques detail brush. It's super tiny. Super tiny. So after that, I'm gonna go in with Pure, which is like pure gold. And I'm gonna put a little bit of that as well. Yes, bitch. I'm gonna be using Mario Badescu. Mario is my nigga. And then we're just gonna go ahead and let that dry. And now I have to think of a lip. So I think the lip that I'm gonna do is gonna be Galaxy Collection. So the lipstick I'm gonna be using is Starlit. She's cute. I'm gonna line it with this NYX Suede Lippy. This is like the most non-beginner ass thing that I could possibly do. But like, I didn't know it was gonna be this fucking cute. I really didn't. Alright guys, so. Okay guys, so I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe to my channel. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next beginners video. Let me know what you guys want to see. Oh, was this like this the whole time?